This is Math, Module 5, Lesson 11, and Fluency for that. All right, we're going to look at this, a little bit of review. We have 6,765 divided by 2. I know already by looking at this that I'm going to have a remainder because I have an odd number for my dividend, and I have 2 for my divisor. So I know that my quotient will then have a remainder. So I want you to do it whatever way you are comfortable. So pause the video, come back. I'm going to do it with using the algorithm. All right, I'm looking at 6,765 divided by 2. Again, my number underneath is the dividend. My number that I am dividing by is the divisor, and my answer is going to be the quotient. So I'm going to look at it first. I am going to ignore 765. I'm going to look just at the 6, and I'm going to see how many times 2 goes into 6. I can see that 2 goes into 6 3 times. So I'm going to get rid of that part. 3 times 2 is 6. I'm going to subtract it. Now I'm going to look at my next part. I'm going to look at the 7. And I'm going to see how many times does my 2 go into 7. Well, I think it's going to be the same because I can't go quite into 8, so I know that 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. And I'm going to subtract that, and I've got 1. So now I've got to bring down that next number, which is the 6. So now I'm looking at 2 and 16. 16 divided by 2, I know is 8. And then 8 times 2 is 16. When I subtract those, I get 0. And I got to bring down my 5. How many times does 2 go into 5? Well, it goes in 2 times. And I know that 2 times 2 is 4. And I've run out of room, so I'm just going to finish over here. 2 times 2 is 4. I'm left with 1. There are no more numbers that I need to bring down. So my answer is 3,382 remainder of 1, which is my remainder here. Let's look at the next one. 1,736 divided by 4. All right, so it's possible that I won't have a remainder, but it's also possible that I might. So this time I'm going to use our place value way of doing our division. This one takes a little bit longer and can sometimes be a little bit messier unless you're really, really careful with your dots and writing things. So I'm going to use just 1 along the bottom, and I have 1,000. I have 700. And again, I'm putting them in 4s because I want to work in those 4s. I have 36 here, so no more 4s, and I have 6 here. All right, so I look at my very first number there, and I see that I don't have any groups of 4. So I'm going to move that. I know that 1,000 is the same thing as 10 hundreds. So I'm going to add 10 hundreds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 4. And I've got 1 left over that I need to move over. So I've got 100 left over, so I'm going to move that as 10 tens. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This time I have 1 group of 4, 2 groups of 4, and 3 groups of 4. But I still have 1 left over. So I've got to take that 1, and I'm going to go, that 110, I'm going to put it in as 10 ones. So I already have 6 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love doing it this way because I can look and see right away that I've got all my 4s lined up. So I've got 1 group of 4, 2 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4, and 4 groups of 4. So my answer here, I have 4 hundreds, I have 3 tens, and I have 4 ones. So my answer to 1,736 divided by 4 is 434. All right, so that was just a quick review of both the algorithm and the unit, the place value way of doing our division. Now we're back to fractions. We're going to say the fraction and fill in the unknown numbers to find the equivalent. So we are going to be dividing this time instead of multiplying. So we start with the fraction 2/10, and we ended up with 5 as a denominator. So we started with 10. So 10 divided by what is equal to 5? And if you're not sure, another way of saying that is how many 5s are there in 10? And you could certainly count by 5s and get 5, 10, and you'd see there are 2. Reminding you, again, if you divide by a number in the denominator, you have to do the same in the numerator. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 2/10 is equivalent to 1/5. Let's go on. 2/4, and we want to, again, divide. So I want you to think about this yourself and think, what are we going to divide by? So we got to we went from a 2 in our numerator to a 1. So 2 divided by 2, in other words, 2 goes into 2 one time, is 1. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. Because I know that there are 2 groups of 2 in 4, or 2 times 2 equals 4. Remember that division is just, it's kind of backwards multiplication. All right, we started with 4/12. We have to figure out, well, they went down to a 3 in the denominator. So 12 divided by what is equal to 3? Or how many groups of 3 are there in 12? So I can count 3, 6, 9, 12. Well, that was 4 groups. So if I divide by 4 on the bottom, I have to do the same thing on the top. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 4/12 is equivalent to 1/3. Okay? All right. Now, this gets a little bit trickier. So they've asked us to draw the model for 4/10, which is there. And we have to write the fraction that is shaded. So 4/10 is there. And we need to compose the shaded units into larger units by circling them. So my original thought was, oh, well, what if I divide it this way? But I've run into a problem because actually I can't finish that because I need 2 more columns and I don't have them. So that is not going to work for me. So I've got to think of another way to do this. So what if I instead just go into single units? So I'll go into single units. And now how many of those do I have? If I look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 units now. So I can know I'm going to have 5 different parts there. So we shouldn't really probably call it a unit, but I've got 5 parts. And of those 5 parts, 2 are shaded. Okay? All right, so what did I divide by? Well, I divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 4/10 is equivalent to 2/5. Try one more of these. Once again, we've got our model, and our model is showing us 6/9. If you look, there are 9 different parts, and 6 of those parts are shaded. So we're going to have to put those shaded units into larger units. So I think we'll do it once again, the same way we did it. Let's go red this time. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 units. So I'm going to put that. Now I have 3 units. And if I have 3 units, I've got 1, 2 parts are shaded. So what did I divide by to get there? Well, 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. So I know I have to do the same thing on the bottom. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I know I did it right. So 6/9 is equivalent to 2/3. And that is the end of Fluency, Module 5, Lesson 11.